Temporary email addresses, or throwaway email addresses, are an excellent way of sharing your email address temporarily. For example, when signing up for a mailing list or reaching out to a dealership when shopping for a new car. Zeems offers 3 different methods for creating temporary email addresses. The first 2 methods require no configuration, but are less flexible. The third method requires some configuration, but is much more flexible than the other 2. Let's take a look at each. In this example, we have a user with the real email address jbond@yourdomain.com. Method 1 simply requires you to put a plus sign followed by any word, and that becomes your temporary email. For example, Mr. Bond is going to be signing up for a mailing list, so we put ML01 so we can try and keep track of which service his address is for. The second method is an extension of method 1, but this time with an expiration. In this particular case, our second plus sign is followed by a date. In this case, that's 20200630 or June 30th, 2020. Both have no configuration required or additional account setup. Now let's take a look at the third method. In this example, Mr. Bond wants to buy a car. Rather than reaching out to the dealership with his real email address, he uses a temporary email address called JB007. In this example, Mr. Bond will need to both send and receive as JB007. So in order for this to occur, the temporary email address, JB007, needs to be associated with either a single address or a domain name, which we'll call the foreign domain. In this case, the foreign domain would be @localtoyotadealer.com. So now let's see how this works. So the goal with this feature is that when Mr. Bond sends an email with his real address to the local Toyota dealership, Zeems should automatically convert his sending address to his temporary address. This way, when the dealer gets the message, they see his temporary email address. Similarly, when the dealership replies to his message, Zeems should automatically convert the address back into his real address. As we mentioned with the previous method, this method can also have an expiration date. So now let's enable this option in Zeems. I'm going to log in to the Zeems web interface using Mr. Bond's real email address. Now that I'm in, I'm going to mouse over Home at the top and click Manage Temporary Emails. Here, Zeems will automatically assign a random email address, and I'm going to change this to JB007. This address is the foreign address. In this case, I want this to only work between emails coming between Mr. Bond and localtoyotadealer.com. Another option here is the whitelist. What this means is that Zeems will automatically whitelist any emails coming from this address. This way, none of these emails could get stuck in your junk box. After I click Submit, that's basically it. Now, if I send them an email, or they send me an email, or reply to me, it will automatically be handled by Zeems. However, there may be situations in which you do not know the foreign address or domain. In that case, if we click the question mark next to that field, it will give us some additional options for exactly the situation. One of the options is first domain. This means that whatever domain sends this email address a message first will be used as the foreign domain instead.